Sightseeing boat carrying mostly South Korean tourists capsizes on the Danube River. 7 are confirmed dead. 19 people are missing. We have the latest. Washington's acting defense chief becomes the latest top U.S. official to insist North Korea's recent missile launches were in violation of UN resolutions. President Trump has said they were no big deal. First, Republicans urge Democrats to move on following Robert Mueller's first and likely last public statement on the Russia probe. The White House says the case is closed. The Democrats say all options remain on the table. Breaking news this morning. A boat carrying a group of South Korean tourists sank in the Danube River in Budapest on Wednesday evening local time. There are at least 7 deaths and many others missing. For more on this dreadful story, we have our Yoon Jung-min on the line for us. So Jung-min, what's the latest?
Right, Mark. According to Seoul's foreign ministry, 7 passengers have been rescued and 7 people are dead, while a search and rescue operation is underway for 19 others who are missing so far. On Wednesday night at around 9 p.m. local time, a tourist boat carrying 33 South Koreans and 2 crew members capsized after a collision with another cruise boat on the Danube River in Budapest. Reuters says the Danube is flooding with strong currents and heavy rain there makes rescue efforts difficult. The Korean embassy in Hungary has sent an emergency rescue team to the site and is currently working with Hungarian authorities, but the weather is hampering operations.
Well, just judging by the video we're watching there, Jung-min, we can see that the currents do look incredibly strong, but let's hope that they can rescue some more people. But what is the response exactly from the South Korean government thus far?
The South Korean president ordered an emergency rescue operation a few hours ago. The Blue House has ordered the foreign ministry and others to cooperate with the Hungarian government and to spare no effort to save the victims. It said it's going to contact the families of the victims to keep them updated, and it will dispatch an emergency rescue team to the site. Seoul's foreign ministry said it is currently working with the Hungarian foreign ministry and the Korean embassy in Budapest for a prompt response. That's all I have for you now, but I'll keep you updated with this. Mark?
Well, thank you very much for that report, Jung-min, and do keep us updated on the developments of this dreadful accident that's happened in one of the most popular European tourist destinations on one of the most famous rivers as well. Thank you. Now, in other news, with the US government split on its assessment of North Korea's recent missile tests, the acting US Secretary of Defense has waded in to the debate, siding with those who call it a violation of UN Security Council resolutions. However, Patrick Shanahan also highlighted the Trump administration's intention to continue trying to hold talks with Pyongyang. Our Kim Hyo-sun has this report.
Acting U.S. Defense Chief Patrick Shanahan has stated that North Korea's latest test firing of short-range projectiles into the East Sea this month was a violation of UN Security Council resolutions. Talking to reporters on Wednesday, Shanahan stressed that what the North fired were indeed short-range ballistic missiles.
These were short-range missiles, and those are a violation of the SCR.
This is the latest assessment that contradicts earlier comments made by President Trump. During his joint press conference with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in Tokyo on Monday, Trump said he didn't think the latest missile tests violated UN resolutions. He also tweeted Sunday that he was not disturbed by the regime's firing of what he called some small weapons. Shanahan, however, also stressed that the Trump administration aims to continue dialogue with the regime while keeping sanctions and pressure in place. Washington's ambassador to Seoul, Harry Harris, also says the U.S. will continue talks with the North despite the regime's latest test launch. Speaking at the Jeju Forum on Wednesday, he highlighted the fact that President Trump is keeping the door open to negotiations. He also praised Trump on how he's dealing with Pyongyang, while adding that the international community needs to be patient. Kim Hyo-sun, Arirang News.
U.S. Special Representative for North Korea Stephen Biegun will be in Singapore from Friday through Sunday to attend the Shangri-La Dialogue and meet with his counterparts from South Korea and Japan. In a statement released on Wednesday, the U.S. State Department said Biegun will have talks with Seoul's top nuclear envoy, Lee Do-hoon, and their Japanese counterpart, Kenji Kanasugi. The State Department added the three sides will discuss continued coordination on their goal of the final, fully verified denuclearization of North Korea. The U.S. State Department has explained that Sea of Japan is the official name Washington uses to describe the body of water between the Korean Peninsula and Japan. South Korea's Yonhap news agency reports that an official from the State Department responded to a written inquiry saying the name complies with the U.S. Board on Geographical Naming. The official also suggested Seoul and Tokyo reach an agreement on the naming. Following President Trump's mentioning of the Sea of Japan while meeting with American troops in Japan, the South Korean government reiterated its stance that East Sea must be jointly used. Now, as the trade war between the U.S. and China rages on, the Department of Defense in Washington has submitted a report to Congress on rare earth minerals as it hopes to reduce America's reliance on China's vast supplies. Lee Seung-jae reports.
Rare earth minerals are a group of 17 chemical elements which are used in a wide range of consumer products, from electric car motors to smartphones, as well as military jet engines, satellites, and lasers. With simmering trade tensions between the United States and China, it has raised concerns in Washington that Beijing could use its dominant position as the world's main supplier of rare earths as leverage. With that, the U.S. Defense Department submitted a report to Congress this week with a plan for a federal program designed to bolster production capabilities through targeted economic incentives. While the Pentagon did not provide details, it's hoped the plan will reduce America's reliance on China. Currently, China supplies about 80% of U.S. imports of the minerals. Most rare earth minerals mined outside of China still end up there for processing, with the lone U.S. mine in California also sending its material to China. Due to this, China has used rare earth minerals as leverage in its trade talks, raising tariffs to 25% from the previous 10%, while the U.S. excluded the elements from its own list of prospective tariffs on roughly $300 billion worth of Chinese goods to be targeted in its next wave of tariff measures. Experts say despite the U.S. plan to produce alternative rare earth supplies, it's not something that can happen overnight, as China will use its stronghold on the minerals as a powerful bargaining chip. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Now, South Korea is going to lower the tax rate on stock trading beginning today in accordance to the amendment of the enforcement decree on the Securities Transaction Tax Act. Korea Exchange explained that the transaction tax for shares listed on the benchmark KOSPI and the secondary KOSDAQ markets will be lowered by 0.05 percentage points each. The transaction tax, which is imposed regardless of whether an investor makes profit or loss, was first introduced in 1963. An interview video clip of South Korean boy band BTS has been posted on the homepage of the UN's official website. The 1-minute-long video shows footage of BTS at the launching ceremony of UNICEF's Generation Unlimited in New York last September. In the video, BTS leader RM says the boy band hopes the Love Yourself campaign can help children and young people who are exposed to any form of violence. He added BTS also hopes everything they do could be a little help to make people feel better. Now, US Special Counsel Robert Mueller, who's leading the Justice Department's investigation into Russian interference into the 2016 US presidential election, he's wrapped up now, announcing on Wednesday morning that he was formally closing the probe and resigning from his post at the Department of Justice. And this has ruffled a lot of feathers in Washington, as you'd imagine. For more on this and other news from around the world, let's turn to our Hong Yu. So what's the latest reaction?
Like you said, Mark, Special Counsel Robert Mueller made his first and last public statement regarding his 22-month investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Mueller announced that this would be his last statement as his investigation is complete and that there is nothing more to say from what has been made public by Attorney General William Barr. As an answer to the criticism from the Democrats in Congress demanding for a clear answer on whether Trump had committed a crime or not, Mueller said they did not make any determination because they did not have confidence the president clearly did not commit a crime.
It would be unfair to potentially accuse somebody of a crime when there can be no court resolution of the actual charge. So that was Justice Department policy. Those were the principles under which we operated, and from them we concluded that we would not reach a determination one way or the other about whether the president committed a crime.
Shortly after Mueller's remarks, President Trump tweeted that, quote, "Nothing changes from the Mueller report. There was insufficient evidence and therefore in our country a person is innocent." On the other hand, Democrat House Judiciary Chair Jerry Nadler said the special counsel has clearly demonstrated that President Trump is lying, and so he has all options on the table, including the possibility of impeachment. But before starting the impeachment proceedings, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi said she wants to ensure that any case Congress makes is a compelling one.
Nothing is off the table, but we do want to make such a compelling case, such an ironclad case that even the Republican Senate, which at the time seems to be not an objective jury, will be convinced of the path that we have to take as a country. Many constituents want to impeach the president, but we want to do what is right and what gets results.
Most Republicans continue to support for the president after Mueller's statement, suggesting it's now time to move on from the almost 2-year-long investigation. U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton says Iran was behind the attack on 4 oil tankers at a port in the United Arab Emirates this month. Bolton told reporters in Abu Dhabi on Wednesday that there have been previously unknown attempts of drone strikes and attack on the Saudi oil port of Yanbu by Iran. Tehran dismissed the accusation, calling Bolton's latest remarks as a ludicrous claim. Bolton is a longtime hawk who has previously advocated for regime change in Iran, but Trump said that he's not looking for regime change, but for no nuclear weapons. Apple has won a patent for a foldable screen display that could be applied to iPhones and its other devices. According to CNN, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office on Tuesday local time granted the patent about an electronic device with a flexible or bendable display and cover. Apple submitted the application in January last year, which was among a number of patent applications the tech giant drafted around the idea of a foldable display. Samsung and Huawei have been the front runners of foldable phones, but neither of the companies' devices have hit the market yet. An analyst told CNN that he believes the earliest Apple could release a foldable smartphone would be late 2020 or early 2021.
Time now for our Life and Info segment, where we focus on information that will be useful for your everyday life, whether you're in Korea or somewhere else around the world, especially so today. It is Thursday, so we're going to focus on culture and the arts, and to walk us through what's trending, culturally speaking, in Korea right now. I'm happy to say we have our Min-sun in the studio with us. So Min-sun, what do you have for us today?
Hi, Mark. One of the hottest topics in Korea this past week has been director Bong Joon-ho's new film, Parasite. The film became the first Korean film to win the Palme d'Or Award at the Cannes International Film Festival this last weekend. And with high expectation and excitement, today the Parasite is finally released to the general public in Korea.
Yes, so it goes on general release across all cinemas in the country from today, May 30th. In South Korea, it may be different for other countries around the world. I'm looking forward to seeing the film myself. I will require English subtitles, though, to understand exactly what's going on. So the name Parasite suggests, an actual parasite. I'm guessing they're not really in the movie. That's just what the movie is supposed to symbolize somewhat. But it's really hard to imagine, having not seen it. I know you have seen a pre-screening. You were lucky enough to do so.
Lives get intertwined when the son of poor family become a tutor for rich family's daughter. And the poor family has quite a desperate lives at a semi-basement home. After their small businesses collapses. And none of their family members have a stable income, including the father, played by the actor Song Kang-ho. Their mobile phone is cut off and the family occasionally folds pizza boxes to make living. Then the son forges a document to enter the home and life of the rich family as a tutor. The director explained at a press conference that he wanted to focus on family, which is the basic unit of society, to portray the polarized social structure of a capitalist country. That's why this film can earn sympathy not just in Korea, but also in other countries around the world. As the two families that belong to different social classes start to have overlapping areas in life, they develop a parasitic relationship.
It is a story about rich and poor, but I recently thought that it's more about the issue of human dignity. I think the matter of being a parasite or being involved in a coexisting relationship depends on how much dignity a person has.
For the rich family, played by actor Lee Sun-gyun and Jo Yo-jung, keeping a certain distance from those who belong to different social class is very important. And the distance is portrayed through the existence of the smell, which is an important narrative in the film. Talking about the smell is not an easy thing to do even with close friends, as it can be rude or it can offend others.
This film touches on the very private and sensitive parts using the smell. What's funny is that the rich and the poor don't have a chance to smell each other. But in the movie, a series of situations are created where they get to smell each other. The smell is used as a sharp and sensitive tool in the film.
It's interesting looking at the house the movie is set in. Is it actually supposed to be in Korea, that the house, or is it another country, or it's never really talked about? Because I'd never seen a house like that in South Korea before, but perhaps...
The semi-basement house?
Yeah.
Those type of houses exist only in Korea,
okay.
But where the film has been shot,
yeah.
It's made just for the movie.
Oh, okay. That's interesting to hear. But what the director there, Bong Joon-ho, was saying about smell is quite intriguing to know. That's one of the main themes of the movie. It makes me more curious to see the film. How are the movie-going audiences here in Korea feeling about the premiere of this movie coming out today?
Right, so over 500,000 tickets were pre-sold in Korea as of this morning. And it's not just the movie fans who are excited about the release of the film, but the actors and the director were also excited and nervous to present their work to the general public in Korea.
I hope the audience can enjoy the movie and have fun. I also hope the movie gives everyone the chance to reflect on their lives and society.
Cannes is over and it's the past now. I'm presenting my work to Korean audiences and I'm really curious to know their vivid reactions. I want to put on some disguise and sit among regular audiences whenever I have time to hear what they really think about it.
Bong said Khan is now a history to him, but he may make even more new history. On Monday, the New York Times mentioned Parasite as a possible contender for an Oscar. It noted that no Korean film has been nominated for an international Oscar, but Parasite is so strong it could even blow past that category to factor into directing and screenplay races.
Okay, let's see how Parasite gets on in the South Korean box office. I'm positive it will do extremely well given its win at the Cannes Film Festival, and hopefully if it can bag a few Oscars in the coming months as well, that would be extraordinary. Now, any other films that we perhaps should keep an eye out that are going to come out in Korea soon?
Of course, South Koreans especially love musical films, and on June 5th, Rocketman will hit theaters across Korea. The biographical musical film is based on the life of music legend Elton John and stars Kingsman star Taron Egerton. The film follows the early days of Elton John at the Royal Academy of Music to his songwriting partnership with Bernie Taupin. 22 Elton John songs were rearranged to match the story of the movie, and the actor sang 21 of them himself. The film has been getting good reviews and offers spectacular musical performances, so it'll be worth checking out if you like Elton John's music.
Yeah, I personally cannot wait to watch that film. It looks really, really good, and I'm sure we'll all be listening to Elton John songs here in South Korea once that song comes out. Thank you very much, Min Sun. Thank you for talking about those films, and we hope to see you again very, very soon.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Now, let's take a quick look at some cultural events that are coming up here in Korea. Now, we're going to get back to our breaking news. A boat carrying a group of South Korean tourists has sunk in the Budapest River. The Danube did so on Wednesday evening local time. There are several deaths, all of them confirmed to be South Korean at this point, and a number of other people remain missing, around 19 as of last count. But we are going to get another report from our Yoon Jung-min. If you're just tuning in, perhaps we can give you some more details. So, Jung-min, what's the latest you're hearing?
Right, Mark. As far as I know, no changes in the number of casualties so far. But according to Seoul's foreign ministry, 7 passengers have been rescued and 7 people are dead, while a search and rescue operation is underway for 19 others who are missing so far. On Wednesday night at around 9 p.m. local time, a tourist boat carrying 33 South Koreans and 2 crew members capsized after a collision with another cruise boat on the Danube River in Budapest. Reuters says the Danube is flooding with strong currents, and heavy rain there makes rescue efforts difficult. The Korean embassy in Hungary has sent an emergency rescue team to the site and is currently working with Hungarian authorities, but the weather is hampering operations.
It's such a tragic story that people just on vacation have to go through something as dreadful as this. But what about the response from the South Korean government?
Well, yes, it is a tragedy. The South Korean president ordered an emergency rescue operation a few hours ago. The Blue House has ordered the foreign ministry and others to cooperate with the Hungarian government and to spare no effort to save the victims. It said it's going to contact the families of the victims to keep them updated, and it will dispatch an emergency rescue team to the site. Seoul's foreign ministry said it is currently working with the Hungarian foreign ministry and the Korean embassy in Budapest for a prompt response. Well, that's all I have for you now, but I'll bring you more updates on that. Mark?
Okay, thank you very much, Jung-min, for that report. We'll have rolling coverage, of course, of this news story during the day. But for now, let's turn it over to our weather center.
Good morning. A cool start to your Thursday will quickly warm up by the afternoon, and temperature gaps will be 10 to 17 degrees Celsius across the country. Less sunshine, but still certain parts of the country in Jeju Island will see very high UV levels today. And air is getting dry again, with regions in the east like Daegu and parts of Gyeongsangdo and Gangwon provinces under dry weather advisories. Also, eastern regions will have higher daily highs today, surpassing 30 degrees, including Daegu and Gyeongju. But the heat will ease tomorrow there, and typical early summer weather will stay with us for the time being. This May, we saw some record-breaking temperatures, so many of us are wondering if this summer is going to be a real harsh one. Well, the weather agency says it won't be as hot as last year, but up to 3 typhoons could affect the Korean peninsula. That's Korea for you, and here's the international weather for news around the world.
Well, that's all we have for now. We'll have our next newscast at noon Korea time, when we'll bring you the latest on that boat capsize in Budapest. Several people, including South Koreans, have been killed in that. Until next time, goodbye.
To learn more about the economic issues in Korea and around the world, tune in to Arirang TV's new program, The Chamber.